Why, hello, everyone. Hello. What is up, guys? If you guys don't know this voice by now, then why are you watching this video form on YouTube or listening to the podcast form on Apple Podcast and Amazon Music Podcast? What is up, guys? It is James, aka Jimmy Pancakes 20, back here to do a new video / podcast for you, and in this video is the long-awaiting part 2 of my Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood 2024 review, where myself and my co-host, yes, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, my mom Marsha, is joining me again to do this part 2. So, Mom, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
And we are going to talk about the 4 mazes that were located downstairs on the lower lot. And we did 3 of them, and those are the only ones that we did on opening night, because if you guys were in California at the time, it was one of the hottest days in California, and it was an even hotter night. And Marsha and I were not feeling well. We just had to leave the park early, and because of my work schedule, we could not go back to Horror Nights, especially on closing night. But this year, we're planning to go more days. So, also, I know a lot of people are wondering, why is this video form on YouTube audio only? Well, due to my busy work schedule, we had to record it through audio. That way I could get part 2 out for you guys. But part 3 will be back on video form, where I'm going to actually show photos. So just for part 2, we are doing it on audio form only, and that's why it's converted into audio form for YouTube. So also, I have a ton of more videos / podcasts coming out. All the stuff that I promised you guys, all the events that I promised you guys, I will still be going. So with my job and everything, sometimes I can't do videos or podcasts for a couple of weeks, but I'm trying to do my best. So as I did mention on my social media sites, on my Facebook, on my Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, until we find out what's going to happen with TikTok. That's where you're going to get all the information when videos are coming out, when podcasts are coming out, what's going on. If videos are delayed or canceled, that's where I post all that information. Also, I'm also trying to start posting on YouTube posts as well. That's linked to my YouTube page. I also put information on there now. So that's where you can get all the information. So I just wanted to get that out of the way for you guys. Sorry this video took a long time, but video / podcast took a long time, but we're finally getting it done. So, Mom, are you ready to talk about part 2 of Horror Nights?
Yes, I am.
Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and enjoy this video / podcast, Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood 2024 part 2, where we talk about the 4 mazes that were located on the lower lot. So, basically, there was only one maze that we did not go through on opening night that was located on the lower lot, which Marsha and I really wish we could have gone back and went through it. Do you want to tell them what it was?
Eternal Bloodline.
Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodline. Yes. So that was located in Soundstage 12. That was the first time ever that they used that soundstage. And if you guys checked out my speculation map version 1, it's rumored that we're going to use that soundstage again. So we'll see what happens. So basically, this was a heavy female cast maze. So most of the characters that you saw in there were female, and there was a couple of male parts, but mostly all female. So you are joining Sasha Van Helsing and the Bride of Frankenstein as they face off against Dracula's daughter and her monstrous alliance, featuring music by Slash. So that's why I said it's an all-female cast in this maze. So let's go for the maze together, shall we? So the facade was either a mausoleum or a castle. What did you think it was, Mom?
I think it was a castle. It really, like, when we were watching it, James, it really looked like a castle. Like, Dracula's castle.
Exactly.
That's what I think it was.
Yeah, for sure. As you go for the maze, you hear the daughter of Van Helsing telling you the story. So when you get to certain points of the maze, they're telling you like the story of the maze. You walk through the first two hallways. There are black hallways, and there are no scare actors. Then you enter a small crypt, and the first scare actor you see is one of Dracula's brides come out from the right and scare you. Or one of the Dracula's daughters alliance, Then you enter a small room that looks like a weapons room where you see Van Helsing's daughter getting ready to go to war. She's on your left-hand side, and then to your right is Dracula with a spear through his heart that's in a coffin. Yeah. So then you enter another dark hallway that leads to the next area where you're in the woods. On your left, you see a dummy of a dead person. They always like to use dummies in their mazes. Then there are two scare actors that are both dressed as female werewolves that come out and scare you, one from the left and one from the right. Then you enter Dracula's castle. Right. Yep. As you enter, looks like one of the bride's rooms, and there to your right is a dead bride. So it was. so
like, I mean, competition.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you see two more dead brides that are in coffins, and then the center is the first time you see a scare actor dressed as Dracula's daughter scaring you. So you're basically walking down the hallway. There's two coffins that have dead brides, and then in the center, which is a platform, that's where Dracula's daughter comes out and scares you. Then as you're exiting the room, you also see on the other side is Van Helsing's daughter on your left. So they're basically battling each other. One's on the right, one's on the left. Then you enter a hallway. Onto your right, you see a projections of Dracula's daughter. Then to your left, Dracula's daughter comes out and scares you. So basically, you're looking at the projection. Then to your left is when Dracula's daughter comes out and scares you. Then you enter a next room that looks like a jail where you see the Bride of Frankenstein. This is the first time you see the Bride of Frankenstein, by the way. Burning an emblem, and then you see the mummy's daughter getting killed. So the bride is like burning something, and then there's dummies of dead bodies, and then there is on the right side is the mummy's daughter that's supposedly getting killed. Then you go back in the crib and you see the body of Van Helsing's daughter and the Bride of Frankenstein. Oh, then you go back in the crypt and you see the body of Van Helsing's daughter. She got killed. Oh, sorry, I'm skipping ahead. The next room, you enter a church where you see Dracula's daughter rip off the head of Van Helsing's daughter as she is killed by Dracula's daughter. Then you go back into the crypt after that scene, and you see the body laid on the table. This is all on your left-hand side, but to your right is the bride comes out, and to your left
Van Helsing's daughter comes out.
I mean, the Dracula's
daughter comes out.
Comes out, and it's basically a battle where she's trying to protect the body. The bride is trying to bring back life into Van Helsing's daughter. Then as you exit the room, you have another scare. As you exit that room, you get scared at the corner by another female werewolf. Then you turn the corner and you get scared by Mummy's daughter. And then that is the end of the maze. Your thoughts on this maze?
I really wish I saw it in person, but like James said, we were not feeling good. It was the hottest night of the year.
Opening night of Horror Nights last year.
Opening night, yeah. So, this maze looked amazing. The scares were like right on point. I love how they have the Dracula's daughter, the Van Helsing's daughter,
Bride of Frankenstein's
daughter,
and then they didn't even mention like the female werewolves or the mummy's daughter.
Right.
Those were just surprised that no one was really expecting.
But I really like when I saw this maze on TV. I really liked it. Good acting, good scares, and it's all female cast. In the history of Halloween Horror Nights, it was an all-females cast.
And then,
like two guys.
Yeah. But, yeah.
But, amazing.
Yes.
Really liked it. James, your opinion?
I really did enjoy it, too. As I said, I really wish we could have gone through it, but, it was so freaking hot. We were not feeling well, so... but we'll see. So now we give it a rating from 1 being the worst to a 5 being the best. Your rating first, Mom.
When I saw it, I would give it a 5 out of 5. It looked amazing.
Okay. For me, I have to give it a 5 out of 5 too. Really had no complaints at all. It was really good. And as I said, I wish we could have seen it, but, we did not. So
hopefully they'll bring it back this year.
I mean, they'll probably do a different version, but,
And I really want to see that version, James,
exactly,
this year.
Exactly, yeah. So now we're going to move on to the 3 mazes that we actually did. So we're going to start with the next one. This one, one of my coworkers at work was in this maze, and I got to see him on opening night, and then I never saw him because we never went back. But he played one character on opening night, and then he went and switched to a different character because there was something that happened with this character, and I'll explain what happens as we get through the maze, and when we get to that scene, I will explain what happened. So, next maze we're going to talk about is Dead Exposure Death Valley. This was located behind the Mummy Ride. They're just zombies. They're just nude. Enter a top secret government facility where an experiment to create super soldiers have gone wrong, turning people into radioactive zombies, and they will escape just as you arrive. So, the facade for this maze was a secret military base that was somewhere in Death Valley. But there is a van that crashes into the gate. So as you're outside the queue, you can see the backside of the van. But once you go into the maze, you see the front of the van. As you enter the maze, the first character that you interact with is a security guard that comes out and scares you from your right. And I remember you were first to go for that maze, and he got you.
I'll explain at the end, but he did get me.
The first area that you go to is, of course, the security checkpoint. As you turn the corner, you see a dummy of a fake driver that's dead in the van. This is the van that crashed into the facility to cause all this mayhem. So as you turn the corner, you're in the security checkpoint, and another guard comes out from your left and scares you, which I thought was brilliant. Then you turn another corner, and the guy in a hazmat suit comes out and scares you. He comes from your right.
Yeah. Got it.
Then the next area you're going into is the research facility.
The lab facility.
Well, it just says research, Mom.
Okay.
It doesn't say lab, it just says research.
Okay. Got it.
You're walking down a small hallway that turns into a room where you see mutated monkeys in cages. That was cool. The next room you enter is a dummy of a scientist on the table. So now this is where we get into this character that everyone loved. For the first week, there was a guy in a gorilla suit that came out and scared you.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, so basically what happened is, because it was so freaking hot the first weekend, half of the people that were assigned to play this character quit, or they didn't want to do it anymore.
Right.
So then they decided, then about 2 weeks after, they changed it to a human zombie that would come out and scare you. So then the next 2 weeks after that, so after that person, they had no one came out and scared you.
Right.
So this is when, so then for the last month, this is when my friend Cody, who I work with, they found someone permanent to play the creature, and I want to give a shout out to my buddy Cody, who I work with. He said, I will play that character for the last month of Horror Nights. So he was the only permanent person to play this character.
The gorilla.
The gorilla.
Right.
And everyone else that did it was a different person every night. But he was the only permanent one that said, I will play that gorilla character.
For the last month.
Yeah. So he played a zombie at the end of the maze, which we'll get to his scene. And then he played the gorilla guy for the last month. So, yeah. Then you walk down the hallway that's covered in blood. Yeah. you pass the window and there's a Bane and another person in a hazmat suit scares you, which I thought was a fantastic scare.
You look one way and then another scare the other way.
Then you're in the command post where you see two dead dummies in hazmat suits. Then on your left, a scientist comes out and scares you. Then another scientist pops out. Oh, sorry. Then you enter the jail portion of the facility.
That one, yeah.
Then another scientist pops out from one of the jail cells on your right, which I thought was very, very cool.
It was.
Okay. Then you enter the freezer section where for the first night was very nice and cool for a few seconds to get out of the heat. And people did not want to stop in that area. I remember they had to keep people going because it was so freaking hot.
We got cooled off a little bit.
And then in that area to your right and left there was two zombies that popped out and scared you. Then you entered another hallway and a maintenance zombie pops out from your left. Then you enter another hallway where you pass these green barrels. Then you go down another hallway and the right door opens and a radioactive zombie comes out and scares you. That's on your left-hand side. Then the final room is the waste room where both to your right and left radioactive zombies come out. And my buddy Cody that played the one on the left until he switched to the gorilla suit. And you go down one more hallway, and of course there's one last scare where 3 dummies of radioactive zombies scare you, and then that is the end of the maze. So, your thoughts on that, Mom?
Really, really, really well done. They scared me like left and right because I think I was you were following me.
I was following you.
So basically, I got all the scares. Very well done. Scared the bejeebers out of me. Really, really liked it.
I really did too. So, I personally loved it. This was an original concept that was started in Orlando, but they made it their own story, which I thought was brilliant.
It was.
So, your thoughts on your score for this one?
I have no complaints about this maze. Very well done. A 5 out of 5.
Yeah. For me, 5 out of 5 as well. I mean, I really had no complaints.
Either did I, James. Very, very well done.
Yes. So, we're going to move on to the next maze. This one was announced at Midsummer Scream. This got the biggest reaction of any maze that John Murdy has ever announced at Midsummer Scream.
I was surprised on this one.
Yes.
Totally surprised.
Yes. So, if you guys don't know, last year in 2024 was the 50th anniversary of Texas Chainsaw Massacre when the original one came out. And the original one came out in 1974. And I remember the first time I watched the original movie, I got freaked out. Yeah. It was good. So, what John Murdy decided to do was to do a tribute to all of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, but in a twist. So what he decided to do was he was going to have every single LeatherFace from the original movie all the way up to the 2002 Netflix movie LeatherFace. And basically, you were going to start at the meat factory and end at the Sawyer house, which I thought was brilliant. And they took you to some of the classic scenes from the first movie and some of the more recent ones. So, this was located behind the Transformers ride.
Excuse me, James. For the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, didn't he say something about all the masks in recent years?
Yeah, he basically said that he was going to do a tribute to all the LeatherFaces.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So you were going to see every single version of LeatherFace from the original movie all the way up to the 2022 Netflix movie.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so if you guys want to learn more about this maze and the backstory for this maze, I will put a link to
Midsummer Scream.
Midsummer Scream Horror Nights panel in the description box below. So here's the description. Your fresh meat. LeatherFace and its cannibal family will lure you into a ghost-infested slaughterhouse, fall victims to a gruesome original story that was never on screen from the 1974 movie's 50th anniversary. So, as I said, this is an original story that was created for HHN24. For the first time in history, we're going to see every single LeatherFace from the original 1974 movie all the way up to the recent Netflix one from 2022. So the facade for the meat factory was called Hooper and Current Meat Processing to the tribute to the Tony Hooper, who was the director of the original movie,
mm-hmm.
and then the screenwriter, which I can't remember his name, from the first movie. They're the ones that created this legacy of LeatherFace. So, this was an homage to the people that created LeatherFace.
Got it.
The first character you meet is outside. He's wearing a pig mask. That one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So as you're waiting in line, you hear the backstory of the family and why they love meat so much. So,
But there's a twist.
Yes. Yes. As I said, if you want to learn the full backstory of this maze and what you experience, I will put a link again down in the description box below to the Horror Nights Midsummer Scream panel from 2024. If you want to learn more about the backstory for this maze. So as you enter, you walk down the hallway and there are no scare actors. Then you walk down another hallway, no scare actors, but you see some of the masks that were worn by LeatherFace from the different movies. That's where you were getting confused, Mom.
Yeah, that's where I was getting confused. Yeah.
The first room you enter, you're in the basement from the first movie where you see the girl hanged up, and then LeatherFace comes out from the left and scare you. Of course, they had to start with the original one. The next area, you're in a corral. So basically what you are is you're going through the different sections of a meat factory. So you were in the corral where they would corral the pigs or the cows through. But except we're the pigs and the cows.
Like they're trying to get all the guests.
Yes. And so on your left-hand side, you see LeatherFace's cousin, Chop Top. And then on your right is another LeatherFace, but I don't know from which movie. The next area, you're in the barn where you see Grandpa hitting someone over the head. You also see the hitchhiker from the first movie.
Okay.
Both the hitchhiker and Grandpa are on your right. Then another LeatherFace comes out from your left as you're exiting that that room. Yes. So, moving on to the next room. Sorry. Okay, yeah. So the next room, I call it the barrel room, where there are dead bodies in barrels. On your left is either the father or a relative of LeatherFace, and on your right is another LeatherFace. Mm-hmm. Or sorry, on your left is another LeatherFace.
Right.
Both characters are trying to hit guests with a paddle like you would use for kayaking. So, yes. The next room you enter is a workshop where on your right you see LeatherFace pretend to put a chainsaw through a fake body, and then there's a live actor that's underneath the chest pretending to scream and ask for help. So, of course they had to do that scene. Then it's hallway you have to go through hanging skins.
Oh, I remember that. Oh. Mm-hmm.
That was not fun. That was not fun.
No. Mm-mm.
The next, you walk down another hallway. At the end of the hallway, Chop Top pops out and scares you. Then you walk down another hallway to the next room. This room I call the body dump room. On the left, Chop Top is pushing a cart full of bodies and pretending to spray you with water.
Pretending to spray you with blood. But it's water.
Yes. Then on the other side is a well where water is pouring into the factory. And then as you exit that room, a LeatherFace pops out and scares you from your right-hand side. Then you walk down into the hallway and you leave the factory and you're going towards the house. Another LeatherFace pops out from behind the door on your right-hand side. So basically you were leaving the factory and you were going past the factory offices, and that's when LeatherFace pops out and scares you. I wrote my notes wrong, but that was the scene that I was just talking about.
Got it.
That you're leaving the factory and going towards the house. Mm-hmm. Then a third LeatherFace pops out from your right. So basically, you got one LeatherFace, a second LeatherFace popping out from the office's door, and then you have another one that scares you into the next area that leads you down, that scares you to go down the hallway where you have to go through hanging pigs that they use all the time for horror nights in certain mazes. Mm-hmm. Then the next area you enter is the graveyard from the first movie.
Okay.
The opening shot of the tombstone and the body. Yeah.
Remember that one, yeah.
As you pass one grave, there's a big open space and another LeatherFace comes out and scares you. Then you turn the corner and you see the entrance to the house, And before you enter the house, depending on the staff, sometimes there would be another LeatherFace that would come out and scare you before you enter the house facade. So, yeah. Then as you exit the house, you get upset for the famous basement door scene. Yes. Where LeatherFace opens the metal door that leads down into the basement and pops out and scares you. That, I think, was my favorite scene from this maze.
That was a good one.
Mm-hmm. Then you go down one last dark hallway. Under your left-hand side, one last here, another LeatherFace pops out and scares you. And that is the end of the maze. So, your thoughts, Mom?
I really, really like this maze. I love how they did it, like, through the years with LeatherFace. Different masks.
Different versions of him from different movies.
I really, really like that. I love the basement when he comes out of the basement on the door. Very well done. I really, really liked it. Got a lot of good scares out of that one. Very, very well done.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it myself. I really didn't have any complaints. Once you and I left Midsummer Scream, I'm like, that's a maze we have to go through because John Murray pumped everyone up for this maze. That I thought that was a good announcement that they announced at Midsummer Scream last year. I really cannot wait to see what they're going to announce for Horror Nights this year at Midsummer Scream.
Right.
So, now your scores, Mom.
I really, really liked it. Very, very well done. I give it a 5 out of 5. A lot of good scares in that one.
Yeah, I really had no complaints for this maze. Yeah, when we went through, we got every single scare. So it was really, really good.
Really worth it.
Yes, it was. So, now we're going to get to our final maze before we wrap up this video. This video/podcast.
Got it.
The Weeknd Nightmare Trilogy. So, if you guys don't know who The Weeknd is, he is an artist or a singer, in case people are confused. He basically is a Canadian singer. So about 2 years ago, Horror Nights did a maze with him called The Weeknd After Hours, based off his third album.
That was all the bars and the party scenes, right? That one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was a really good maze, and so for 2024, they decided to do another maze with him, but this time they did it based off 3 albums. They did it based off Afterlife, his second album, which a lot of people consider his second album, which was Damn FM, and then a third album that was not released yet, but now everyone knows it's called Hurry Up Tomorrow, which is his latest album that just came out in February.
Okay.
At the time, no one knew what the third album was, but now everyone knows.
Because of the maze.
Because of the maze.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got it.
Journey into the Weeknd Signature Trilogy. The Weeknd returns with a brand new house inspired by Afterlife, Damn FM, and a horrifying new title, which we now know is called Hurry Up Tomorrow. I kind of mimicked from his music videos and live performances. So, Um, at first, I wasn't a fan of the Weeknd, but then once I went through the 2002 maze, I really wanted to check out this guy, and now I'm a huge fan of his music.
You listen to his music?
I listen to his music.
Okay.
So, but some of these rooms that are in this maze are from his newest album, as well as some from Afterlife, which I did know, but I haven't seen all his music videos yet. So some of these scenes I might not understand.
Right. Got
So
it.
just a heads up for anyone. So the facade and this maze I forgot to mention was located in Soundstage 15, where the Weeknd maze was located in 2022, and then that's also where they had Stranger Things season 4 in 2023.
Behind the Mummy ride.
No, behind
Transformers ride.
Yes. Yes. So the facade for this maze was a giant city, and in the middle there was like a platform where they would have an actor dressed up as the Weeknd. Depending on what cast it was.
Right.
You would either see them dressed up as the Weeknd in the red jacket from the Afterlife soundtrack / his music videos, or dressed up as the old man with a white beard and a black jacket from his
newest one.
Not the newest one, but from Damn FM.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Pretending to DJ to get the people pumped
up to go into the maze.
Exactly. Yes.
Got it.
And then there was also a giant head of the Weeknd in the very back, like a blow-up head. So as you enter the maze, you were walking into the hallway, and there was a white light that made you feel like you were being blind, but you were not. So those were the traditional, basically taking you from one album to the next album to the next album.
Got it.
And I don't know the order of the albums that they did. It really wasn't specified. So
right.
The first room, you were in an alleyway, and there were statues that were pretending to be paparazzis. And the scare actor came out as the Weeknd, looking like an alien creature with a black hoodie jacket covering his face.
I remember that one, yeah.
I really don't know about that one. The next room you entered, I call the money room, where there was an actor dressed up as the Weeknd, laying on the chair that was numbing himself with some type of gas.
Yeah, that room. I didn't understand that room either.
No. And then you saw two more people dressed up as the Weeknd. One in the red jumpsuit. That came from your right, as well as the old man that came out from a window. Yeah. And then as you were about to leave the money room, there was one last person that came out looking like a zombie Weeknd. So, the next area I called the Club Death, where you see a coffin and there are statues of people with hoods over their head, and on your left, that was on your left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, the old man Weeknd came out and scared you. So, and then as you left the room, one of the hooded people that were statues popped out and scared you. So they had
That was a good scare.
That was a good scare because I was not looking for that, and that was on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
Then you enter a hallway, and there is a blue light. Again, another, taking you to another
album.
The next area you entered was a small hallway where there was these hands that were trying to grab you, and then a scare actor dressed as the Weeknd in the red jacket pop out and scared you, and you looked like a zombie Weeknd. That was on the left hand side. The next room you enter the bathroom where you see a demon Weeknd public that's in a sink that's on your right hand side.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. Also on your right hand side, as you passed another sink, there was a crazy old woman that popped out and scared you from a mirror. So, yeah. The next one you enter is some apartment where you see a dummy of the Weeknd that has eyes all over his face, and there's an alien female scare actor that pops out and scares you, and her headpiece is a giant eye that comes out from your right hand side.
I didn't get that one. I didn't get that one at all.
Then you enter a hallway where you see multiple giant eyes, and there are two scare actors that pop out and scared you. You know. Yeah. Then you walk down two small hallways, then you get into an area where you see the Weeknd on a saw table, and there's a hooded figure, the ones that you saw from Club Death, pretending to cut the Weeknd in half.
Right.
Okay? Then you see a dummy of some random guy that's on a giant cross.
Yeah, remember the cross one.
Then there's an actor dressed. Then there's a character dressed as the Weeknd in the red jacket that's laying on a table, and then there's some guy another actor dressed in a red suit that's ripping the heart out of the Weeknd. So that I did not get.
No.
Then you walk down another hallway, and there are giant blades that you have to walk around. So it looks like you're going through a sawmill or something. Yep. Then you see the sexy nurses from one of his music videos. There's only one in this maze this time, and she comes out from your left and scares you.
Yeah.
Then you enter another room where you see that looks like a hospital where there's a demon woman that's trying to kill the demon baby that's popping out of the Weeknd. Again, dressed in the red suit. Yeah. And of course, that's a live actor that's underneath that.
Right.
Then you enter a room where I didn't understand, where there was these figures dressed in white that were dressed in white, and their faces were covered, and one of them was on stilts.
That room threw me off. I didn't know.
I didn't know
I didn't understand that one.
I did not understand that one either. Then you go back in the hallway, and again you're being transported back where you see a white light. And then there's, of course, one more scare actor where the Weeknd has turned into this giant bug something creature that's the final scare of the maze, and then you're out. So, your thoughts on the Weeknd maze?
I liked it, but I didn't really understand it. I didn't see his music videos, James, so I didn't really understand it.
I mean, Afterlife, I saw the music videos before going to the maze, so I understood the first maze that they did. It was just based off his first album, but this one was based off 3 of them, and I really did not understand.
No. And the next complaint is, like, the lights in the hallway, it kind of made me, like, sick.
Yeah.
Like it was giving me a headache.
Exactly.
I mean, good scares, good acting, but I didn't understand it.
Right. I did not understand it either.
Like, what is this maze? You know, that's what I was thinking.
Right.
But, some of the parts were good, some of the parts were bad.
Yeah, I mean, I did get some good scares in there.
Yeah.
But I was more confused than anything else. I think a lot of people that enjoyed the Weeknd maze, especially were confused.
Right.
The music you understood, but you had to watch the music videos to understand what it was.
And I didn't watch them with you.
I didn't watch them either because, so... Yeah, so your score for this maze, Mom.
Sorry, I have to give it a 3 out of 5. Because I didn't really understand it. The strobe lights were really making me sick. So that's the score I have to give it.
Okay, so for me, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Because I love the Weeknd music. I haven't seen the music videos. I have listened to his new album and stuff. But if I watched the music videos, I would have understood it a lot more. That's the only reason why I'm giving it a 4 out of 5, not a 5 out of 5. If I watched the music videos, I would have understood, this maze a whole lot better.
Right.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. So this is going to end part 2 of our Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood 2024 review. And I do not know when part 3 is going to be coming out. I will let you guys know over social media when that is coming out. Mom, before we end this video, any final thoughts?
I really liked the first 3 mazes. They were amazing that we went into.
Mm-hmm.
The Death Valley one, the Texas.
And you did like the Weeknd, but it was a little confusing.
Yes. And then...
We really wish that we went for the Universal Monsters.
Yeah. But overall, it was really, really good. But like I said, it was really hot that day. I was getting sick. James wasn't feeling good. It's like, James, I gotta go home.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I wish we did the internal bloodline. But this year, we're going through all the mazes.
And we're definitely going to go back multiple times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, I really hope you enjoyed part 2. And again, I'm sorry it's only audio form that's on YouTube. As I said, Marsha and I have been very busy. So, we try to get together as much as we can to film these videos/podcasts for you. As I said, I don't know when part 3 is going to be coming out, but for part 3, we'll definitely be back showing photos and stuff. Just part 2, we had to do this really quickly so I can get it out for you guys on the day that I said it was going to come out. I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank everyone for listening. And definitely you can follow my co-host, my mom, Marsha, on her social media site. She has X and Instagram, which I will put a link down at the bottom. I will also put a link to all my social media sites, which is Facebook, Twitter, aka X, Instagram, and TikTok, where you can get information. And I also try to put information of when videos and stuff are coming out also on the YouTube posting, that you can go on my YouTube channel, you go to post, and I put post on there as well, so you guys know. So that is pretty much it, guys. I want to thank my co-host Marsha for joining me.
You're welcome.
So
always a pleasure.
Oh, and also at the bottom of the video too. At the bottom of the description, I'm also gonna put a link for the Halloween Horror Nights Midsummer Scream panel. If you guys want to learn more about the backstory for Texas Chainsaw Massacre Maze. John Murdy explains it a lot better. I didn't want to get into details, so that will also be at the link down below. So again, thanks to my co-host Marsha for joining me for this video/podcast.
You're welcome.
And I was your host, James, a.k.a. Jimmy Pancakes 20. And we'll see you for the next video/podcast coming sometime in the future. I don't know when. But the next video/podcast will be part 3, a.k.a. the final part of our Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood 2024 review video. And we'll be back doing photos and stuff. As I said, part 2 would only be audio because I wanted to get this out for you guys as quickly as I could and on the day that I promised you it was going to come out. So, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon for the next video/podcast. Bye-bye.